Hey, peace and love and black power. Peace and love and black power. This is Underground Warrior TV. I'm back at you with another video. You know, we always come with something prominent when we banging on this beast. We gonna constantly keep our feet on this beast. We gonna be pressure. We gonna be pressure. You feel what I'm saying? So tonight I'm dropping this video, you know, about how this nomad came off into ancient Kemet around about 640 AD. Now he trying to claim that he the original inhabitant or the original owner of what we call ancient Kemet. They call it Egypt because we know that Egypt was conquered, you know, by people who lived in the wilderness of Europe. You feel me? We know that the original people of Kemet was African people. If this is your first time coming into my channel, man, won't you go ahead and mash up the likes and subscribe to the channel? Please subscribe to the channel. They trying to hold me back, but you know I'm coming. I'm still gonna attack. You know what I'm saying? I don't care, you know, how many people, you know, view my videos and you know, be hating and talking about like he don't know what he talking about, but I'm on point. I'm on point. Sometimes I be rushing the video and forget things and say the wrong things. But all you gotta do is leave comments below and correct me. I don't mind criticism. You feel what I'm saying? Because ain't nobody perfect. You feel what I'm saying? We working as human beings toward perfection, and we probably won't get that perfection till we leave this earthly shell that we living in. You feel what I'm saying? You know. But yeah, this nomad called the Arab, you know what I'm saying, who's probably offshoot of some Greeks and some Romans and some Turkish type people. They trying to say they the original people who built the pyramids. And we know they just got there between like 640, 646 AD. When we talk about ancient Kemet, we talking about like 30 dynasties. You know, at least 30 dynasties that were ruled by black people. And then before the 30 dynasties, you had the pre-dynasties, like hundreds of years, people from Nubia, Africans from Nubia, you know what I'm saying, started the civilization and what we call Kemet today. So no one knows the original date when Kemet came into existence. Some people go back 20,000, they back 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. You know what I'm saying? No one know the actual date, but we know in the time of them 30, those 30 dynasties or 30 dynastic periods, the Arabs were nowhere to be found. How are the conquerors of a land responsible for the pyramids that was up hundreds of years before the Arab people showed up? The pyramid age, we could talk about the pyramid age of King Zoser, the step pyramid, who also responsible for the Saqqara complex that was built in ancient Egypt. This go back BCs. You're just getting there, Arab. So this is about Kevin Hart. On December 9th, Kevin Hart announced that he will be bringing his show to Cairo to perform a stand-up comic show that was supposed to take place February 21st, 2023. But Kevin Hart is accused of saying that ancient Egypt was black. And that's one of the reasons why he's glad that he's going to Cairo to drop his standoff art on everybody, his craft of what he do. You see what I'm saying? It's stand-up art of what he do. Not knowing that the Egyptian people was going to take offense and say that he's trying to blackwash their history. Do the Arabs know that black people and all people of the earth, we read history? You just got there in 640 AD. How can you convince the world? But there's an anti-African movement that's been going on for centuries to deface African great work. They got empirical evidence of African skulls being found over in what we call Mexico, Mesoamerica. They found African skulls, empirical evidence of African people's civilization called the Olmec. You can look at the Olmec heads as 16 colossals of African heads in Mexico. You feel what I'm saying? It's a train going by my house. I'm not going to compete with it, y'all. I'm going to let it go by. Y'all know I'm being real. Most YouTubers would have cut the video off until the train go past. But we ain't going to do all that. But back to what I was saying. That train made me lose where I was at. But back to what I was saying. You don't find no Arabic writing in the Egyptian culture until the Arabs conquered Egypt. And when the Arabs conquered Egypt, I do believe the Romans was already there for like 700 years. Y'all could check me if I'm wrong. I'm going to go back and check that. I'm just, from what I'm reading, that the Romans was there for 700 years before they was overthrew by the Ottoman Empire, the Turkeys, and the Mamelukes. That's when Islam came into Egypt. But see, when the Arabs first got there in 640 AD, I bet you that's where they got their Islam from. They didn't rearrange and change the spirituality that the Kemites or the Kemetic people laid. They done took it and rearranged it and put a name on it called Islam. Same way with Christianity. Because you could go right now and look at the writings on the walls in Egypt, and you will see a black man prostrating like how the Muslims prostrate. And you feel what I'm saying? But anyway, that ain't what I'm here to talk about. That's a different topic. How we can see how religion was stolen from the ancient Kemites, which is the Egyptians, which you call them today. Egypt is a Greek name, right? But back to Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart spoke the truth. So the Egyptian people are calling for cancellation of Kevin Hart's stand-up comedy show on February 21st in Egypt to be canceled. See, you got to understand what you're dealing with, because it's been a campaign. That's where I want to go back to, y'all. That's where I got interrupted from. The campaign to destroy Africans' greatness, deface Africans' history. There's an anti-African campaign, and no one's saying anything about it. They saying it's an anti-Semitic behavior going around the planet. everybody's anti-Semitic because Kyrie Irving shared a book, shared a book or a movie on on Twitter. Kanye West came out and told the truth about the Jews. I don't trust Kanye West, but he did tell the truth about what goes on in the industry, how the Jews run the world, they own the banks. I mean, we know this information. Us that's in the norm, us that ain't sleep, us don't watch Hollywood and watch movies and be brainwashed by movies. Us that study, we know that the Jews do demonic things ever since the beginning. They participated in the slave trade of our people. But there's an end time sentiments going on against African people, and ain't nobody saying anything about it because it's been going on for centuries. Even blacks are joining in to my blacks that look like me and look like the Africans across seas, saying that they're not African, they're Indian. They on the campaign to dismantle Africa, to deface Africa, along with the European. There's so many boozy Negroes in America. There's so many boozy niggas around the planet. This is why we can't get together. It's always a Negro who come with some type of knowledge to separate black people. Religion is one of them. They bust us upside the head with religion, and we can't get together at a damn cookout without us shooting each other up. You feel what I'm saying? We can't even talk among each other. We got to go back and let our enemies know what we're talking about. You see what I'm saying? You know, it just goes on like with the Nation of Islam, the split with the Nation of Islam. We got an in-house beef. Let that be with us. And you don't separate from your brother because the mainstream media, do not like your brother. So you should separate from your brother if your brother is being correct in what he's saying and how he's behaving. I see the Nation of Islam let the white man split them up. They done it with Malcolm. They done it with Khalid Muhammad. Split. So we can't come together at a damn barbecue without killing one another. And then we always point the finger at the white man. He ain't there at the barbecue. You know what I'm saying? Some things we got to take responsibilities for, man, as black people. You feel what I'm saying? So Kevin Hart was right. These nomads offshoot of some Greeks and some Romans in the ancient days came out the hills of Europe, came out of Europe and came through the Mediterranean Sea and came through the peninsula, and now they in Saudi Arabia. You know, if you go back and look in ancient times, it ain't no such thing as no fucking Middle East. So these nomads leave Saudi Arabia, whatever parts of Arabia they left from, and came into Egypt as a conqueror. They are invaders. They think we're dumb. They think the world is dumb. There's been white Egyptologists that came out and says that the African Egyptians, the original African Egyptians, were African. This debate been going on for many of years. We're going to get off into a video, though, where my teacher, I call him my teacher because I'm glad I came up under Sheikh Anta Diop. I'm glad I came across his books. It was destined for me to come across his books because I'll be lost like these Indian Negroes. When you read those books, you will understand why they call Africa the motherland. These Negroes, I swear to y'all, you might not ever heard of this, but if you be on Facebook, TikTok, different YouTube platforms, there's a lot of black people screaming that they ain't African, they Indian. You looking dead at them. They got the protruding lips, like an African. They got the nose like the African. They got the 9 ether hair like Africans. They said we just so happened to look like those people across seas that we had no link to them. They these Negroes even agree with the Mexicans and white people who proclaim that the Olmec heads in Mexico were European or Mexican or Indian, Mongoloid. But you could look at that statue or that colossal big head and you could tell that that's an African. This world is up under so many illusions, fantasy world. I'm not a Muslim, but I do think that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the purest, not Farrakhan, not Malcolm X, not, I'm going to say Khalid Muhammad and Honorable Elijah Muhammad kept it real. They kept it real. Anything between those two, I don't know. I can't trust. But I know Khalid Muhammad and Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke fire. They spoke the truth. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the white man is a liar. He's the biggest master of deception. And I sat back and watched him deceive so many Negroes. Why you think black people ain't got together and overthrew these Europeans? There's more black people on the planet than Europeans. Facts. It's more black people on the planet. It's more Africans on the planet than Caucasian people. We outnumber them. We outnumber them 11-1. And the only reason why we ain't got together as a people, because we hate one another. We ain't African. You got Africans and Africans. We got Africans. We got Africans on the continent who don't trust people from United States. Black people from the United States whose descendants are from Africa. No matter if you came by the slave trade or you was already here, your descendants go back to the motherland. Even the Australian people in Australia, the Tasmanian people, the people of Australia said that their ancestors go back to Africa. That's in Australia. The Aboriginals of Australia, of that land over there, the land of down under. So I don't understand how we as a people come up with this crazy science that we can't say the word black when we was always black. I don't understand that. Why we let terminology of the white man stop us from coming together, because we don't want to come together. We love being servants to Europeans. We love it. Kevin Hart was right. This is the second time Kevin Hart they got some heat. You know, you can't say nothing about the LBGT or nobody, none of that no more. You know, he said a gay joke way back in the day before this cancer culture shit started jumping off. And they wanted him to apologize for that comedy way back in the day. From my understanding, when you do comedy and you go see comedy, you know what you're going to see. You know nothing is off limits. You could talk about anything, raise people, mama. You could get talked about if you're there in the front row. The comedian can talk about you. If you pay your money and this is what you go see, you know what you're going to go see. Nobody is off limits. And that's fair. But now these days, you could talk about that black woman at the Oscars, not once, but twice. I support Will Smith for standing up for his black wife. A lot of people don't look at that like that. You know, you could talk about a black woman at the Oscars and a joke, you know, but don't say nothing about someone gay. They're going to cancel. They wanted to cancel Kevin Hart to host the Oscars because he didn't apologize to the LBGT about something he said in the past. So I'm going to stand with Kevin Hart twice on 2 issues that I see him standing strong on. He knows that the ancient Egyptian, not the fiction Egyptians that's there now, the people there now are the conquerors and rulers of Egypt. They're the conquerors, the invaders. You know what I'm saying? Making money. A matter of fact, they make money. Let Great Britain and all these people come over and keep digging up graves of our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on, man. But let's check this video out, man, by Chick Diop. But first, I want to show y'all the video of an Arab who's going off at the fact because a woman asked him about black people claiming to be Egyptian. This guy goes off. He goes into a tirade over the whole situation. Y'all check it out.
في الاتحادية تعلقوا على على هذا الخطاب.
مفيش تعليق غير دي، مفيش تعليق أكتر من الجزمة لهذا الخطاب. مفيش تعليق غير كده.
طب أستاذ إيهاب تعليق؟
لا طبعا أنا كنت أعرف إن محمد مرسي كذاب وملاوع لحد يعني ايه لحظات قليله، انما كذاب وملاوع ومجنون بجنون الكرسي والسلطه هذا الرجل الذي يخرج على شعبه لكي يهدد ويلوح بالعنف. يقف علينا رئيس الجمهوريه الان، رئيس الجمهوريه السابق المجنون بالسلطه المجنون بالكرسي، هذا الرجل الملاوع الكذاب الخادع، وتلك الجماعه التي لا تعرف تلك الجماعه. طب
خلاص اشرب ميه، اشرب ميه. اهدى يا استاذ ايهاب، مش كويس كده. اهدى معلش طب اهدى.
هو مش عارف هيروح لربنا، مش هيلاقي محمد بديع جنبه ولا خيرت الشاطر، هيتدفن في متر نجيب له ايه اكتر من 33 مليون في الشارع ما بيشوفوش امي، مش عارفين اللي حصل في البلد بسببهم. قعدوا يتكلموا عن مؤامرات، بيكلمني عن ايرادات في الخارج والداخل، هو اللي بعت لي بريد وبعت لاوباما ويحتمي بيه امريكان. هذا الرجل مفيش راجل قاعد في الثانيه رئيس جمهوريه يطلع شعبه يحس انصاره عليه الان، هو عاوز يقتتل صباحا. كل دم حرام، كل دم في الوطن حرام، وتقبلها محمد مرسي. هيا الضربه يا بيتي غير ما يمشي محمد مرسي، مفيش وطن شريف غير ما يقف في الميادين. احنا لو اردنا نخرج الناس للمهدي ما كناش هنعرف نخرجهم زي ما محمد مرسي عمل. ايه العمل ده؟ ايه الجرائم دي مؤسسه وقت صاحبة 17 قرن حضاره، حرام عليهم. ايه الجنان اللي شفناه ده؟ ايه الهبل والجنان ده؟ انا بقول لكل المصريين لو فيكوا راجل شريف بيحب هذا الوطن عليه اللي ينزل الشارع، ما يرجعش غير لما محمد مرسي يمشي. كنا بنقول لحد امبارح او من ساعات عليه انه هو،
انا خايفه
عليه انه هو
استاذ ايهاب ثواني بس عشان خاطري،
عليه انه
انا خايفه بس عليه
يدعو الانتخابات. هذا الرجل انتهى وجماعته انتهت.
أنا خايفة عليك.
ومصر مقبرة الإرهاب والتطرف انتهت خلاص. أجرمة
بس
الإخوان
عشان انت عندك القلب يا ايهاب.
النهارده ما شفناش واحد منهم
طب أستاذ
من
إيهاب.
قاداتهم
اهدى، انت
موجود
عندك
في
القلب.
الشوارع يطلع هو
اهدى، هتموت كده، هتموت كده.
هيبقى واجد مين؟
ما يستاهل.
مصر شالت فوق طايرها يرضي مين؟ فين شبابها وفين ولادها المخلصين؟ مصر شالت فوق طايرها يرضي مين؟
You have spent much of your life studying the history of the ancient Egyptians. Who were the ancient Egyptians? How did they look?
Voilà, les Égyptiens anciens ressemblaient à cette tête que vous voyez. Voici le premier roi de la terre. Toute
Here
la
you
terre.
have the first king of the earth, the very first. And the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, looked like this man. You can see that he has those traits that are associated with the black, those features associated with the black race, which are even more pronounced than many of the people here. It was this man who unified the Nile Valley from Upper to Lower Egypt, and this was 3,300 years before Jesus Christ. You can see that they were not people that were started as whites and became progressively more black.
Mais qu'au départ, c'était des Noirs authentiques qui, à la basse époque, vont se métisser avec des Blancs.
They were instead black people, and authentic black people, but which never ceased to be black.
Donc, attendez, je dis en un mot. Donc, vous voyez que les anciens Égyptiens étaient des Noirs comme tous les autres naturels de l'Afrique, c'est tout.
You can see that the first the Egyptians were black men, like black men that you see in Africa now.
Ici, cette reproduction est importante.
This is a very important reproduction.
C'est dans le tombeau de Ramsès III,
This is found in the tomb of Ramses III,
20e dynastie.
the 20th dynasty.
Vous avez le personnage de gauche.
That person on the left,
C'est le type général, donc, représenté par l'artiste égyptien lui-même.
this is the general type represented by the Egyptian artist himself.
Le second, c'est le type général de tous les Européens, si vous voulez, de tous les Occidentaux.
And the second person or personage is the general type of all the Europeans
Yes.
represented by the artist.
Le troisième, c'est le type général de tous les autres Noirs de l'intérieur du continent.
And the third personage is the general type representing all the other groups found in the interior of the continent,
Of Africa.
of the continent of Africa.
Ouais. Le quatrième, c'est le type général de tous les Sémites habitant l'Asie.
The fourth personage is the general type of all of the Semites living in that area of Asia.
Et ceci est un tableau ethnographique. Voilà les races qui existaient à l'époque, telles que les Égyptiens les ont connues, vues et représentées.
This is
De différentes races.
the different races represented by the artist, and these are the races that existed in his time as he saw them.
Nous sommes à 1200 avant Jésus-Christ.
We are 1,200 years before Jesus Christ.
Bien. Donc, vous voyez que les Égyptiens ne se sont jamais confondus avec les Européens.
So
ni,
the Egyptians were never confused with the Europeans,
ni avec les Sémites,
nor with the Semites,
et qu'ils ne se sont jamais différenciés sur le plan de la couleur, n'est-ce pas, sur le plan ethnique des Africains.
and they never became different on an ethnic plane from the other Africans.
How did ancient writers describe the ancient Egyptians?
Tous les écrivains grecs et même romains de l'Antiquité ont déposé dans le même sens pour nous affirmer que les anciens Égyptiens de leur époque pourtant qui étaient déjà très métissés, étaient des Noirs.
All of the writers of ancient Greek and ancient Rome agreed that the Egyptians of their epoch, of their time, were in fact black.
Or, cette Égypte-là, c'est l'Égypte de la fin. Donc, de la fin de l'histoire égyptienne.
But these were the Egyptians of the end of the great Egyptian civilization.
Jésus-Christ, ça fait donc une période de 900 ans.
For a period of some 900 years, beginning at the 4th century before Jesus Christ and going through the 5th century after, the Greeks were constantly witnessing to the fact that the Egyptians were black.
Donc, les Égyptiens sont considérés comme des Noirs depuis l'origine jusqu'à la fin de leur histoire.
So they would be considered black from their origins, from their beginnings, all the way to the end of their civilization, as is indicated by the first king, the slide which we saw.
Ici, vous avez le Sphinx.
This is the Sphinx.
Lors de la mission française qui accompagnait Napoléon, quand Napoléon est allé en Égypte, il était accompagné d'une mission de savants. Ce sont des Français qui sont comme ça sur le Sphinx, qui font des mesures.
These are Frenchmen who were part of on top of the Sphinx. They are measuring there on top of the Sphinx. They were part of a mission that accompanied Napoleon.
Au 19e siècle.
In the 19th century.
Vous voyez que le profil du Sphinx à cette époque-là était encore plus typiquement africain que maintenant.
You see that the profile of the Sphinx at that time was more authentically African than it is now.
Depuis, l'érosion l'a détruit encore un petit peu. Vous savez, le vent de sable constamment qui frappe le visage.
The wind and the sand has eroded the Sphinx considerably.
Et vous savez que le nez du Sphinx est au British Museum.
The nose of the Sphinx is in the British Museum.
Et on aurait pu le récupérer pour revoir un peu quel était le visage. L'Égypte pourrait très bien essayer de le récupérer, ça c'est au moins la moindre des choses.
And the Egyptians are unable to have it back again to compare it with us.
Mais peut-être que ces traits sont si typiquement africains que personne n'a envie de les reconstituer tels qu'ils étaient.
It's perhaps because the features are so typically African that no one wants to see that comparison be made. This is Amenhotep I, and you can see that here is his natural skin color. He is not painted.
Vous voyez aussi que ses cheveux sont crépus.
And you can also see that his hair is kinky.
Disons, c'est cette dynastie qui va conquérir toute l'Asie occidentale.
It is this dynasty represented here that conquers all of the Western world.
Toute l'Asie occidentale.
All of Western Asia.
Et aussi toutes les îles de la mer Égée.
And also all of the Aegean Sea.
C'est une époque d'impérialisme africain.
This is the period of African imperialism.
À cette époque, c'est l'Afrique noire qui avait l'initiative historique.
It's at that point that it is at this point that Africans had the imperial initiative.
Et dominer tous les autres peuples, soit de la mer Égée, donc de la Méditerranée orientale ou de l'Asie occidentale.
And they dominated all of the people from the Mediterranean all the way into the Far East.
Un pharaon de cette dynastie,
pharaohs of this dynasty,
qui s'appelle Thutmose III,
who were called Thutmose III,
avait conquis 111 États.
Conquered
111 États au total.
111 states in all.
Il les avait conquis et qui étaient entrés il les a intégrés dans l'Empire égyptien.
And they made them part of the Egyptian Empire.
Why is the history of Egypt so crucial to black people? What's at stake?
Mais parce que, comme je l'ai souvent dit, la civilisation égyptienne, d'après tout ce que je viens de vous montrer, a joué le même rôle que la civilisation vis-à-vis de l'Afrique, que la civilisation gréco-romaine vis-à-vis de l'Occident.
Because Egyptian civilization played the same role for Africa that the Greco-Roman civilizations played for the Western civilization.
Et donc, si nous voulons recréer un corps de sciences humaines en Afrique, il nous faut repartir de l'Égypte.
If we are to create a body of the humans of social sciences, then we must take as a point of departure Egypt.
Renouer avec les antiquités égyptiennes.
Tied to ancient Egypt.
C'est la seule façon, comme je le dis souvent, de réconcilier les civilisations africaines avec l'histoire.
It's the only way to reconcile African civilization with history.